Today's class is about your listing advertising. So everything that you've done or learned up to this point is going to culminate into advertising your properties that are going to get you a lot more deals, a lot more clients. It's going to help you sell your houses faster and for more money. In all ways, it's going to showcase your value as a top agent because it's visible evidence of what you do. And that's what people admire, I think. I mean, they want us to be good people, right? We have to be friendly, we have to be nice, we have to be communicative, honest, and good at what we do. But what sets us apart are the things that they see in terms of what we do as a real estate agent and the seller who's paying for both sides in most cases. Please forgive me for saying that, but it still happens even with the new NAR ruling. If you can get that client to get so excited about what you've done, then you're going to get more deals, right? I even told you about this last house that we listed in Orem. It's resulted in 2 more listings. Our neighbor actually told the neighbor across the street who's thinking about selling their house that they need to hire us. The fact that we got the house under contract within a day of it going up on the market, in this market, about $100,000 overpriced, at least in terms of comps go. They do have a nice big shop in the back, so we had to find that specific buyer that wants a shop and pay extra for it. It works. Advertising your listings is the best advertising that you can do as a real estate agent, bar none. If you've wondered, what do I put up on social media? How do I market myself as an agent? Listings is the #1 way to generate more business, to get more exposure, to separate yourself from other agents and other offerings, especially the discount offerings. You can't beat the listing side of things. This is where I'm going to teach you. This is kind of more like a workshop. So you're going to need to see the screen up here. There's information in the book. We'll also have videos, or we do have some videos out there on our resource pages so that you can kind of figure this out. Because once you figure this out, everything else comes together. But to get to this point, so this is really important. In order to get to this point, you had to have convinced your seller that you're the agent to work with. So what do we do to convince our sellers that you're the agent to work with? The $20,000 listing presentation with your slide deck. You go in there and you wow them and excite them about what you're going to do to help them sell their home faster and for more money with visible evidence of what you're doing, right? I have my iPad in there and I slide through those slides and I explain to them and show them what I'm doing. They need to see it. It's not just about you're a great negotiator and you're a great friend and you're a great person. Those are awesome. You should be. But it's when you actually market and advertise their house effectively that you showcase a different level of service that they want to see and that, of course, is important to them. As far as the resources go, I wanted to show you a couple of things that I kind of showed you before. We talked about how many times do you see a house like this, right? It's a nice house. You know, it's in an area that we sell a lot of properties in this area. It's been on the market for 135 days. 130. How many of you want a listing on the market for 135 days? Yeah, it's awful when that happens, right? And then, of course, you get agents that are just waiting for what? For that's it right there. They're waiting for it to expire so they can call and say, I can do a better job, right? So how many of you call expireds? Anybody do that? Yeah, you should actually. It works. Because what's an expired listing? It's a frustrated seller, basically is what it is. It's a seller that wishes they had a better agent that could sell their home. Sorry to say that, but that's the way it is. So calling up expireds, they're ready to go. They've already tried to sell it. They don't know what to do. So you know what I like to do? I shared this last week because last week's class was about what? Do you remember? Staging and flipping. So if you can't get the houses looking great, how fast are they going to sell? Right? How good is your advertising going to be, which we're going to talk about today? It's not going to be that great if the house doesn't look good. This house right here, it's nothing to get super excited about, but it's nothing bad. It's just kind of, it's like, yeah, that's pretty good, right? How many of you feel that way when you look at it? Anybody like excited? Now, the price point, this is what's crazy on the price point, $507,000 for a 6-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,400 square foot house. Now that's in Eagle Mountain. Some people don't want to live up there, but I will tell you that it's growing and it's a good investment area, right? But this is when they first started building out there about 20 years ago. They liked every shade of brown in that time period. Did you ever notice that? Every freaking shade of brown is in this house inside and out, okay? That's what turns people away. So how much does it cost to freshen up a home? So I went to ChatGPT. People are asking me about this. How do I find ideas for staging, and both on the inside and outside? Because what's the number one thing that you want to improve on a house if you can? Curb appeal is number one. That's the first thing they see. If you didn't want an all brown house, are you going to start looking inside? You're not even going to bother, because I don't want an all brown house, right? So that's going to keep people from wanting to buy it in the first place. So I use ChatGPT now. You can use apps. There's a lot of them out there. Houzz, Houzz. Have you ever seen that one? That's a good app. And there's other apps where you can take pictures of spaces, and then you can tell it what kind of style you want, and it'll give you all these different options for restaging the house and flooring and painting and stuff like that. I asked ChatGPT, I took this picture and I threw it up on ChatGPT, and I say, I want to convert this house into a modern mountain home or a contemporary mountain home. That's a style. Did you know that? If you take all these stucco homes that are called traditional stucco homes, suburban homes, that's what they're called. That's the style. So I went and did that. This is what I could make it look like. Does that house wow you? Yeah, maybe some people don't like the dark. It wows me. I think that's looking. Now you could do different colors, but that looks really cool. You know how much it would cost to do this to a house, this house here? Because I have contractors. Hopefully you guys know good contractors. If you don't, let me know. You know how much it would cost to do this whole makeover on the front of the house? Because by the way, if you notice the new contemporary mountain homes or these kind of style with the board and batten and the shakers, and you can paint them different colors. They can be bright colors. You go to Daybreak. Basically, they've done this, but they've done it with yellows and blues and, some of the primary colors, stuff like that. So I kind of like, in some ways, the dark colors, but you could tell ChatGPT to change the colors if you want to, right? Now, they only wrap it. So see the stone that's here? If you look on the side of the house, it only goes back about 2 or 3 feet. You've ever noticed that? So that's where we put the board and batten. And you do it on the other side here. So the rest of the house is what? Stucco. Have you seen that before? That's how they do it. Guess how much it would cost to do this to this house? Any idea? Most people think $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, and that's about what it costs if you got a company to do it. I have some guys that come and do it, and I can do this for about $10,000, including the paint and everything. If you're trying to sell a house for $500,000, do I have some room to work with? Remember last week when we talked about that room? What's the room? What's the range of most homes? Yeah, you get $100,000, $150,000 with today's price points of about $500,000, right? Or $600,000. Would it be worth putting an extra 10 grand in so that the house looks like that instead of looks like this? That's a huge difference. I'm working on a house right now. I want to invite you to it. We're going to do, the next class is the grand open house. And so we're going to have a grand opening of a house. It's in Eagle Mountain. Sorry if you don't mind driving up there. But if you'd like to come, I'm going to let you all come in, and I'm going to show you what I did inside and out to update this house. I picked the house up for $700. I'm going to sell it for $915. And I put about $100,000 into it. I did a lot to this house compared to others, but how many of you in a 2-month period would like to make $100,000, right? And you can, if you know what to do, where to look, where to buy and things like that, and where the potential is. Just as a quick note, AI is pretty awesome. I don't have to go and use these apps anymore, and sometimes it mixes things up. Like when I first took this picture and I gave it to ChatGPT, it changed out some windows and changed a little bit of the structure. I said, no, please don't change that. I collaborate now with ChatGPT. For properties like this, what a difference this could make. Now imagine if you're going to call FSBO up, instead of just calling someone up, say, I want to sell your house, I can do it better than the other guy, which is the silliest thing I've ever heard of. Because who controls the market? Does the agent control the market? Now, you can control what I'm going to teach you today in advertising properties. And you can actually sell properties faster and for more money, even just leaving them the way that they are. But I will say that if you can provide any sort of improvement like this, all of a sudden you're the HGTV real estate agent in your area. I love doing this kind of stuff. I have testimonials from my clients that say, Mike came in, and they say it without me telling them to say it, because this is my process, it's my SOP. Mike came in and gave me ideas on what I could do so I could make the most money for my home and sell it quickly. And you know why they say it that way? Because that's how I say it multiple times when I present it and go through it, and then I deliver on it. So I built a brand around what it means to be able to sell homes faster and for more money. What does everybody want when they sell a house? Money. Faster and for more money, exactly. So that's what I say and I deliver. Most agents, when they go into a listing presentation, what do they talk about? Themselves. And they talk about their CMA and this is what your house is worth. And then they have that little dance with the seller about what you think the house is worth, what do I think the house is worth, can we come together with some sort of agreement, just so you'll sign the agreement, and then if I have to, which does happen a lot right now, we have a price reduction plan. Anybody have a price reduction SOP? No one will admit to it, but a lot of times agents do. I've heard so many agents say this. Well, okay, we'll go ahead and put it up for that price, them knowing that there's no way it's going to sell for that price. And I've even heard top coaches and agents talk about their price reduction plan. Like, if we only get this much interest in your home, then we're going to reduce it by this much. If we get this much interest in our home, we're going to reduce it by this much. And it's like it's some sophisticated way of teaching, agents how to be a smart negotiator with your clients, when really what you're doing is you're succumbing to their desire to sell it for more money, you knowing that it's not going to sell for that. So you now have a price reduction plan. I want to flip that into, I'm going to be the expert, and I'm going to explain to you exactly what you can do to maximize the amount of money for your home, and I'm going to show you what those things are. There is a range of what a house is worth. And of course, the houses that look better are always going to sell faster. So when you present it that way, it's so refreshing. Doesn't that sound more refreshing than coming up with a price reduction plan or something like that? So use ChatGPT to get ideas if you don't know. You can even take pictures inside the house. What could I do inside the house when you take this picture? You know what the number one thing that ChatGPT will probably tell you? Get most of the stuff out of it, out of this room, and then put some nice stuff in there, right? Because the way we live in homes and the way they need to be showcased for sale is just different, right? You need to be the expert, the agent that knows how to give your clients the best advice so they can get exactly what they want. And when it comes to staging and flipping, I'd like to put them into that idea, that mindset. I'm going to help you flip your home into bigger profits. I tell them that. I even have agents that will tell me in their testimonies, oh, I flipped my home with Mike Anderson, right? Because now they're not thinking of it as what? Their dearly beloved home they lived in for 15 to 20 years. And 20 years ago, this house was the wow factor 20 years ago. It's not anymore, right? But it's still a wow factor when you do something like this to it, right? Does it need major renovations? No. Is the advertising I'm going to teach you about going to help you do better with the way you advertise? Yes. Even with the house just the way it is, right? But any advice that you can give them to make them more money, and I'll even tell them this, like I said last week, if you could put $5,000 or $10,000 in a machine and it spit out twice that, 10 or 20,000, how often would you do it? Well, yeah, all day long. That's how I help my clients flip their homes into bigger profits. Now, the other thing I want to make sure you are aware of, if you haven't done this yet, if you go to skool.com, if you haven't done it, and then /Captivate-Agent, that's where we have this community where agents just like you are sharing ideas and exploring ways to generate leads, do the business that we're doing. We want to share instead of make it feel like we have to make sure no one else knows what we're doing because they're taking away business. This is about giving and improving our industry, not necessarily about the scarcity idea. Have you ever heard that before? You can think in abundance or in scarcity. I think there's an abundance here. Even though there's an abundance of agents, right? There's also an abundance of people that want to buy and sell property. There's plenty of business for all of us out there. So start sharing. So this is set up for that. You can ask questions in the discussion, like questions that people were asking about. Someone's got a new listing, so he asked about, it's Clayton. Clayton's here actually, about flooring and staging and paint recommendations. Let's share. Let's help each other out. Let's make our industry better. So you can take advantage of that. Now, I told you about the videos that go along with these courses. If you come in here, there's all sorts of videos. We even have the one with what I'm teaching today. And here's where there's the $20,000 listing presentation, etc. Some of these go along with our CRM. Unfortunately, you would have to be a part of that in order to get those access to those videos, but other things are available to you. So take advantage of all these resources that are there for you. Let's get into what you really came here to learn about, which is how to market and advertise on social media. So I need to give you a quick background of what social media is, because most of us don't understand it as much as we think that we do. There's basically two main pieces or worlds out there that we live in that have to do with social media. One is the personal one, where we share and collaborate and network and all that kind of stuff, right? In that world, it's free. Social media is free. How many of you pay for your social media channels? You don't, right? No one does. That's what makes it so valuable to all the people that are part of it. How many people do you think around the world are on Facebook or Instagram? Anyone know? It's in the billions, right? And why are they on there? Because it's free and they're sharing and having fun and doing all sorts of crazy fun stuff on there. Some of it's crazy in a bad way, some of it's crazy in a good way. You can decide that for yourself, but it's out there. Now, why would a company build itself on a free platform? How does Facebook and Instagram make their money? Or TikTok or any of the others? Advertisements. Did you all know that? These are advertisement platforms. They are not platforms that are for free for a business owner. They're free for a consumer. Just like when you watch TV. I know it seems like because of all the streaming costs and all that kind of stuff, we paid to watch TV compared to before. But most of TV is paid in what way? The advertisements that are out there. So basically, I want you to understand you are an advertiser. Right? You are also a consumer, but in this case, you're an advertiser. Everyone understand that. What does that mean? You have to pay for it if you want it to do anything. So I will say this. If you don't pay to be as an advertiser, as a real estate agent on social media, then don't even bother. It's not worth it. Honestly, you're spending too much time and effort on a platform that's made for advertisers to pay money to advertise. So guess what Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and TikTok and all the others do when you start posting stuff out there all the time that has to do with your business? They pull it back. They do. They restrict it. Did you know that? You can have thousands and thousands of followers and you put out something that has to do with your business. It's not just that the people don't want that anyway, because that's part of it, right? We want to see what we care about. And do we care about other people's ads? Not so much. We can, and I'll explain how that works. But I want you to understand what social media is, because most business owners, especially small business owners, and I'm talking real estate agents here, have no idea why they're using social media. They just feel like they need to. How many of you feel that way? I'm supposed to use it. I'm supposed to. Sometimes we'll even pay someone to put free stuff on social media. I mean, that's even worse. You're actually paying money to have someone put stuff on social media, but they're not paying for those ads that are going out there, the posts that are going out there, so no one's going to see it, at least not the people that you really want to see it, that's going to grow and build your business. Does that all make sense? So that's one aspect. Now, on the business side of it, what makes it so incredibly valuable is it uses algorithms and AI in order to give you the ability to advertise exactly to the people that want to see what you have to offer. That's what makes it so brilliant. When you put an ad out on TV, before streaming TV, I should say, or in a billboard or in a newspaper or magazine or something like that, you're basically hoping that the right person sees it, right? That you haven't wasted your money. But how many of you have seen ads on TV? They're like, that has nothing to do with me. That ever happened before? It's getting better and better as time goes on to target very specifically what your interests and behaviors are. That's the AI and the algorithm piece of it. Facebook and Instagram's new company name is what? What do we call their company? Meta. Do you know what Meta means? So Meta, we have metadata. We call it metadata, right? You've heard that before. But basically, we have great big data sources out there, huge data sources. And then the AI and the algorithm makes sense of those data sources so that it can get the right message to the right person at the right time. That's what good advertising is about. So now you can literally pay $50 for an ad that before could have cost you thousands of dollars to hopefully get to the right people. Because with $50, you can actually target specific people that have specific interests. And it's actually in the best interest of the platform, not only to give you that ability to advertise that way, but also to keep the people on those platforms there. Because none of us want to see stuff that we don't care about. If I'm going through my Facebook feed or my Instagram feed and I see a bunch of stuff I don't like, what am I going to start doing or stop doing? I'm not going to stop using it, right? How many of you have gotten ads on Facebook and Instagram and it's like, how did they know? Anybody ever feel like that before? Are they listening to me? Because I was just talking about this thing right here, right? I don't want to get into that part of it, but yeah, there's a possibility there that it's basically keying in on what you know. It's fun to watch movies where they try to predict the future and then it actually happens in some way. So there was a movie that Tom Cruise did when he was much younger called Minority Report. Anybody remember that movie? But he walks into a mall, and there's all these glass walls between all the stores and everything. All the advertisements are specifically for him. When he looks around, he's seeing ads, and sometimes he's even in, I think in one of them, he's in the ad himself, right, with a clothing ad or something like that, wearing the clothes that they're advertising. It's really kind of cool to think about it and a little freaky at the same time. Is it freaky to you? Yeah. That's how much they know about us. How many of you have Facebook as an app on your phone? How many of you have Instagram as an app on your phone? How many of you have both and other apps like that on your phone? So when it's on your phone, how often are you logged in and on your phone? So guess what? Those apps know. You don't know this because it's in the fine print. It follows everything that you do, not just even within their own app or their own, platform. It's actually seeing where you go elsewhere. Did you know that it knows if you go to Zillow and we look at certain homes? It knows that. You can ask it not to track if you know how to do that. Yeah. I will say that your advertisements won't be as smart. So maybe it's a good thing.
It still tracks it. We have no privacy. Come on.
Yeah. I don't want to get into that discussion, but remember there's two worlds here. On the personal side, you may or may not like that. Right? But no, that's fine. But on the business side of it, you should be so excited. This should give you goosebumps of how cool this is. Because I can actually target first-time buyers. Did you know you can do that? That are looking for starter homes. I can target someone that's looking for luxury homes in a private community. I can target a lot of specific things. It'll continue to get better, so you need to know about this. There are some rules and regulations that go around it. We'll talk about that a little bit when you do your advertisement. There's special categories, so you don't redline or you don't use prejudicial information, or target specific people for specific reasons that are not compliant, right? But the idea that you can target specific people at this moment. Remember before you used to have to fill out a form and tell people about you or tell companies about you, and then you knew if you filled out that form what was going to happen. People are going to advertise to you, right? And so how many forms do you like to fill out anymore? Do anybody fill out? We just don't fill them out, right? But you don't have to because of today's technology. Just the mere fact that you're on those platforms, it knows as you scroll through and I'm going to slow down. Literally, even if you just slow down, even if you only watch 5 seconds of a video, it logs that information in its metadata set. And then the AI and the algorithms that are set up. The algorithm is really about output. The AI is about understanding, right? The intelligence that goes behind what you want compared to what you want compared to what you want when it's looking at that information. And then it displays that information to you in a way that you're going to say, oh, thank you for showing me that. Even if we don't really like it, at the same time, we kind of do. Because we're getting ads that are very specific to us. I don't have to go through stupid ads that don't have anything to do with me. I think if you've been in my classes before, I tell you the story when I first started listening to Pandora. No, I didn't do the ad-free part, Pandora. So I would get ads. So I'm sitting there putting my playlist together. I remember this was like 20 years ago now. I'm at the table and I'm putting my playlist together, and my wife comes and sits down next to me, and I didn't even notice it. It was just white noise to me. How many of you feel like advertising can be like white noise? Along the side of my browser, women over 40, single women over 40, along the side of my browser. My wife's like, what you looking at? I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't even realize. It knew that I was over 40 because it knew what kind of music I guess I liked, and I think I might have put my birth date in there. I was dumb enough to do that because you have to, remember when you had to put that stuff in there? So I put that information in there. It decided that I wanted to see single women over 40. It also decided that I needed row gain, so it did a row gain. It didn't know that I had hair. Did you know that our social media platforms know if you have hair or not? Why is that? It uses facial recognition. Did you know that? How many of you already know, even with your iPhone or whatever phone you have or social media, it pulls up all your pictures. I mean, sometimes it'll say, do you want to see all your pictures? I'm like, yeah, I didn't even take this picture. Someone else took this picture of me, but it recognized that it's me in that picture. And it's pulling it off of someone else's Facebook or Instagram page. It's crazy how intelligent it is nowadays, right? For good or for bad, right? Who knows if it's either way, but it's just what's happening. Like Stephanie was saying, that's just the way it is. But if you think about it from your perspective as a real estate agent, you now have the ability to start promoting things that people want to see. Now, here's where it gets really important when it comes to how I teach, at least. And I'm sure, how many of you have been through like 50 social media classes on how to do social media, right? Only one? Come on, you've all, yeah. Because that's, a lot of people want to, learn about it. And I've been to a few myself. It's crazy how many different things, like how many posts should you do a week? Or what time of the day should you post? Or, yeah, exactly. And they have all these formulas for stuff like that. And to me, it's like, honestly, I'm a consumer. When I got my degree in marketing, I got an MBA, and I love marketing and sales strategies. To me, the best thing to do is understand your consumer, right? And that's what social media has done. And it's funny how we as agents, I guess, or people that want to advertise, we think about what people want based on what we want. You ever notice that? We think about ourselves. We're very selfish people, if you think about it that way. Not that we're deviously selfish or maliciously selfish, but we just know what we want, but we don't really know what other people want so much. So we put out all this crap, sorry to say it that way, that has to do with us. What does everybody else think about it? Yeah, mom likes it. Maybe your spouse likes it, but nobody else really cares. Your kids hate it. How many of your kids hate your posts on social media? They won't even follow you, and they don't want you to follow them, right? They're just embarrassed by it. But what I'm trying to say is you have to think about what they want. When it comes to real estate, what do our customers want? They want a home. They want to see beautiful homes. Guess what the best thing you can advertise is on social media as a real estate agent? Homes. That's the best thing you can advertise on social media. So that's why listing advertising is the #1 way to promote your business. Now, if I put out an advertisement that said, this is what the house looked like when I got the job, and this is what the house is like when I listed it, and we sold it in 2 days, or put it under contract in 2 days, do you think people are going to pay attention to something like that and think, I want that? Now, if I'm just a talking head saying, I'm an awesome agent, I love you so much, please come to my pumpkin patch, I know we're all doing that right now, right? Yeah, please come to my pumpkin patch event because I love you so much, and I'm a real estate agent and I want your business. And I'm thinking, man, I have to admit it because I'm a consumer too. Talk about the desperation that comes through on that. Literally, like seriously, you're going to give me a free pumpkin and pay for me to come because you want to be my agent, right? My lawyer doesn't do that. My CPA doesn't do that. Other service professionals don't do that. If I want to go to a restaurant and eat good food, it's not because they posted that they're really good people or that they want to, I don't know. If the food's good, I'll go. But if it's not, I won't. So what do they care about with a real estate agent? If you do your job really well, then I want to use you. Right? Now, you're my friend. I guess I'll use you because I really can't tell the difference between everybody else. But if you do your job well, okay, that's different. Like the lady I told you about before that we're going to do a listing presentation today, she has another agent that helped them find the other home, and he's a go-getter, and we like him, member of the family or a friend or something like that. When she saw that we put the other house up for sale, and she saw the ads because she lives in that area. Believe it or not, it comes up on their feed when we pay for it. She saw it, and she saw how fast it went. She reached out to me and asked me, did you get an offer on the house yet? Yes, we did. Can you come and tell us what you can do to help me sell the house? She even told me, and she had to explain herself because she felt bad. I really like our other agent. And I told him that I was going to let him sell our house. I'm like, oh, okay, I need to be careful there. Like, did you sign an agreement or something? Like, she goes, no, we haven't done that. She goes, but I'd rather see what you're going to do to help me sell my house. Because what convinced her, and I'm a total stranger to her, my advertisements did. And those advertisements showed what I do, not basically who I am, but what I do, okay? And that's what good advertising does. Does that make sense? So I want you to think differently about social media. Social media needs to not showcase you and your goodwill and your friendliness and things like that. Good, you can put stuff out there like that if you want, but that's not what's going to convince people to use you, especially new people that you want to give you business. You can rinse and repeat with a lot of business, which is really good. We love, referrals that we get and repeat business. But if you want to grow your business, you need to bring more people into that, right? To start doing that. If you can continue to rinse and repeat with more people coming in, right? That's what growth is. The rest of it is just maintenance, okay? So if you want growth, you got to get new people in. If you want to attract new people, they're going to get attracted by what you do, not by who you are necessarily, because they don't know you. If you want to advertise on social media, you have to have business advertisement pages or business accounts. Does that make sense? So let me explain that first. If you don't have one yet, you need to have a Facebook business page. How many of you have a Facebook business page and never use it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nobody follows me. Why would I use it? I put it out on my own page because I have 4,000 followers or 2,000 followers. That's great. I'll show you how you can keep doing that. There's nothing wrong with sharing. You know how to share on social media? You can share on social media. Put it on your business page, then share it to your personal one if you want your people to see it. That's totally fine. But you're going to advertise on your business page because you can't advertise on your personal one. It won't even let you do that. That's the two worlds of social media. The advertising business world, which is how they make all their money. So guess where they put a lot of emphasis? On helping you do this because you're going to pay for it. They want to keep people there so that the advertisers will pay for it. So they're going to make sure that what you get that comes out in front of you, what you're going to see, is what you want. So guess what? If what you put out there as an advertisement isn't what people want, they'll take your money. Not as many people will see it. So you really have to understand what they want. Think about it from their perspective. Do they want to see your face? Maybe. If it's mom, for sure. But you're not trying to attract mom. You're trying to attract the next seller and the next buyer. The homes are what get them excited. If they keep seeing homes listed and you're there showing those properties and those homes look great and you do before and after, don't do a just sold, just listed postcard. Do a before and after. But we learned a lot of what we're doing actually from HGTV. Not because we like HGTV and that's the way things work. It doesn't even make sense to me that someone that's a school teacher and someone that makes rings out of spoons has $1 million budget for a house. Have you ever seen that on HGTV? Yeah, it's just crazy. It's like, where did you get that? Did you win the lottery or something? And then, of course, they see 3 homes, and then in 45 minutes, they're all excited and they get their, their home, right? It doesn't work out that way. But guess who watches HGTV? Yeah, you do. I do too. All of our customers do. And when they see an agent out there showcasing beautiful homes and staging homes and fixing up homes and doing the things beyond just the transaction. Like if could you imagine if HGTV was just about transactions and that's all it was? Yeah, look at how hard it is. I have to wait here for the inspector. The inspector finally shows up and then I've got to talk through negotiations. This person's trying to talk us down on the house now because they found out that the GFCI switch is missing. Could you imagine if there was a show like that? Would anybody watch it? Yeah, they wouldn't watch it. We're going to follow this agent around, the day in the life of an agent. So we're going to spend $2,000 to get corn bellies to host our party and to give out pumpkins, and then we're going to show, a movie. The thing is that stuff isn't really what makes what we do great. But when we get houses ready to sell and get them looking great and advertise them well, that's what they'll follow and get excited about. You're going to need those accounts. What accounts do you need? You need a Facebook business page. You need an Instagram, they call it a business account. I think it is a business account. They keep changing the name. Business profile, I think is what they call it. But it's an Instagram, so it's different than a personal one. If you're going to do TikTok, TikTok has actually been really popular. We won't go into that so much, but LinkedIn is really good. LinkedIn is where you're going to find a lot of other agents that are going to see the stuff that you put out there, right? You'll get a lot of recruitment if you go into LinkedIn, but the 2 main ones I'm going to talk about today are Facebook and Instagram. The third is YouTube. You need to have a YouTube channel. And what you want to do is make sure that the email address that you're using for all these accounts is your business email address. Now, I know a lot of you have @Gmail accounts, @Hotmail, @Yahoo, and things like that. Not the most professional way to do it. Get your own domain. We even host that if you want to use our CRM and our hosting service at your own domain, or you can do it at search.homes. But have something that's that's consistent, that you'll have all your career. Don't do it at your brokerage. Sorry, brokers that are out there, and you want to bring them into the fold of the brokerage and stuff like that. Unless you know for sure that you're always going to be with that brokerage the rest of your career, I would come up with your own, business email, and then use the same one. Oh, the fourth one, that you're going to need is a Google business profile. So those are the 4 you need. Now, the reason you need the Google business profile is because you're going to put all your not testimonials, but your reviews are going to go up there. People will find your reviews through there. Plus, Google owns YouTube. So when people do searches for you, which they'll search for you as they get referred to you, and what shows up there and your reviews are going to make the difference between them wanting to use you or not. How many of you look, Google companies and things like that? We do it all the time. We go into Amazon for products. We go to Google for services when it comes to a lot of those things. Google for products too, but a lot of times with real estate agents, Google is the best one. Zillow is another good source for a free account that you can get reviews on, but that's what you need. Now, the YouTube account is where you're going to put all your videos. So whenever you do a video for your listings or any other kind of video, you're going to put it up on YouTube. And then you're also going to upload it to Facebook and Instagram individually. Don't put the YouTube link that you can share on those platforms. Do you know why you don't share that link? Because it doesn't autoplay. So if you want it to autoplay, how many of you have gone through a feed and the video is already playing, right? That autoplay happens when you upload the video directly to the platform. If you take a link from Facebook, you know, the share link, you can put that share link into Facebook and Instagram and it'll pop up with a little play button, but they have to hit the play button. So you don't want that to happen. Does that make sense? Okay, so I just want to get that set up first. So if you don't have those accounts and you don't know how to create them, the best thing to do is Google, ChatGPT it or Google it. I like to ask ChatGPT, how do I set up a Facebook business page? How do I set up an Instagram business page, a YouTube channel, things like that. If you need help, because it does change. I didn't even put it in the book anymore because it changes so much that it's better just to ChatGPT it, or you can Google it at the same time. Google uses, is it Gemini? Is that, no, it is Gemini, yeah. So when you do a search on Google now, Gemini will actually kick in and give you answers too that you'll get right underneath that as well. So you don't have to have a ChatGPT account if you don't want to. Yes?
Can you, I've gone on Zillow and found a property that's listed by someone that I know.
Uh-huh.
You look at it, at the bottom, the listing agent isn't the person that I know. Is that because they're not advertising on Zillow?
No, actually Zillow, in order to have that agreement with all the MLSs, because they pull from MLS data, the only way they can have that agreement is if the broker, sometimes the agent doesn't show up because when you set up a listing, you have to, you know how you have those fields that you can put in your name and your phone number? If you don't put in both of those, all it shows is the brokerage. It doesn't even show the agent that's actually listed it. But if you're asking this question, if you want to see your picture and have it linked to your profile, you have to have a free Zillow account in order to do that, and it's free. But that is true. If you don't have how many of you do not have a Zillow account?
Yeah, don't.
Anybody? You need to have a Zillow, even if you hate Zillow. I mean, that's fine if you don't like them. But do you think people go to Zillow? They do. If you have a listing, it'll get put up on Zillow. But if you have an account, it'll tie the two together. And then as it ties it two together, if they look you up, they'll see all your listings. And if you have reviews, they'll see reviews, and you're going to get more likely, people want to use you because of that. And when people do searches for homes, Zillow always shows up pretty close to the top of those searches. Did you have a question, Mark?
In answer to his question, they have to put the brokerage down at the bottom.
They have to.
But those agents you see over there are your 5-star Zillow agent type.
Well, so they advertise to agents now. They're using Flex more now. Before it used to be like right at the top of the page, you paid for a zip code. So it's changed a little bit from that. But yeah, he's right. There are people that pay. They're buyer agents. A lot of times the most visible agent you'll see on Zillow is not the listing agent. It's the person paying to be there because that's how they make their money. Yeah. Yes?
Something I saw yesterday on a new one that I did, homes.com, and they touted up in the corner that we're the only ones out there that actually show the listing agent. And somebody else's phone number, another agent's phone number was under my picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it was like, wow, that's really dirty.
Yeah.
They're giving that impression that they're calling me.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it may be that it's a 40, and you should call the number and see if it's actually going to go to you, because it may be one where they actually put their number on there. Because here's what they want. Because they want them to call you. They want the route to be routed through them, I should say, before they call you, so they get credit for it. So it could be a routing. It could be a routing issue. Yeah.
Try that. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Before we leave.
Stephanie.
This is a digression. But one more place that is becoming a place that you do kind of want to put your you want to claim kind of like the business profile is weird, but it's Yelp.
Yeah, I hate Yelp, but
I
yeah,
know,
yeah.
but just go in and
Yeah.
go there. Because people are searching dentists, people are searching
They do,
lawyers,
they do.
people
For
are
local
searching
searches, yeah.
real estate
Yeah.
agents there. And it's weird, but just go do it. Go
Yeah.
put yourself there.
Yeah. Yelp is your Bing side and your Microsoft side of things. They are very aggressive salespeople, so if you put them on there, they're going to call you like crazy. And if you don't they'll even like threaten if you don't pay for it, then you're going to get bad reviews. And it does work that way. You should see all the complaints. But anyway, you're right. I found that local businesses have to use Yelp, and they'll pay for it too to do it. As far as real estate goes, I'm kind of not sure. Okay, so those are the accounts. Everyone understand those accounts? So if you don't have those accounts, don't do it right now so you can pay attention to what I'm going to share with you. But make sure those 4 accounts are set up for sure. Again, Facebook business page, Instagram business profile, YouTube channel with all the same email address, remember? And then your LinkedIn is a good one, but Google My Business. Google Business. You need those 4 for sure. And you want to take the time to fill out all the information about your business. Take the time to do this. Don't just set up an account really fast and leave it with no profile picture, leave it with no bio. Don't put your hours in there. Like, fill out everything. It'll take you a good half hour to an hour for each one of those 4 because you don't want to leave anything out. If they're banner images you can put in a nice banner image. Take consideration this is a storefront. Remember we talked about front of office, back of office in terms of your business systems? This is a major part of your front of office, okay? What they see on social media, and they will see it there, especially as they research you and people give out your name and things like that. If you think that you can get away with not having a good business profile on those profiles, you are losing business right now, okay? So make sure that those are set up. Any questions about that? Okay, and then LinkedIn is still good. TikTok is good. Yes, back there.
For YouTube.
Yeah, any of those counts. I mean, I bet most of you out there is like, you got to dust the cobwebs off of those accounts, and that's totally fine.
So close that account.
No, you don't need to close the account, but I would make sure that the email address is now going to match because, again, if your Google My Business email address is different from your YouTube channel email address, it doesn't know how to put the 2 together. And you're going to log in through that. You know how with Google now, even with Gmail, you log into one account and it logs into all those things? It needs to do that with your business account, okay? So most of the agents are doing it on their personal, do it on your business. Yeah, Mark. So he's talking about a business suite within Google. You can actually pay for a bit. Like we have that. What's it called again, Jeff? It's not the business suite. It's Collaborator. It has the calendar, Workspace. Google Workspace. Thank you. Google Workspace. So you can do that. Now, the other thing too is that let's say that you have your unique, like I told you, you don't want a Gmail account, but everything with Google is through your Gmail account. Did you notice that? Right. I don't know if you know this, but your unique URL, meaning your domain name that you have with your email address, like let's say you have janesmithrealty.com. You can do me at Jane Smith Realty or Jane at Jane Smith Realty, however you want to do that. Google can host that for you. Did you know that? For your email. So that's what we do is like when you send an email to Mike at captivateagent.com, our Captivate Agent domain, that all goes through Gmail. Yeah, it's much better because again, Google, it put the whole world of that business world together. So if you use Google Workspace, so you can look it up. If you look up Google Workspace, then you can host, you don't have to host your website, right? Your website where your HTTPS, right? Or www, you know what I'm talking about? That can be hosted at a different location. Even GoDaddy can host that if you want. Or our CRM hosts your website, okay? But the email component of it can be hosted through Gmail. And it's called Google Workspace. Yes?
So if you have like your own vanity domain.
Yes.
And you use your CRM, it'll host that?
Yeah, so our CRM will host the IDX website, you know, your website function of it, but Google Workspace with Gmail will host the at your domain email addresses, as many of them as you want.
Oh, and so you just do like Shelly at, or Shelly dot, my domain, or?
At.
Okay.
Yeah, Shelly at yourdomain.com. Okay. Exactly. So you might have, like, let's say yours is, what's your unique address, your web address?
Realtor Shelly Carver.
Okay, so realtorshellycarver.com, okay? Everyone got that? So if you type in realtorshellycarver.com, our CRM is where it goes. So it goes to it looks like this. I'll even put it up so you can see what this looks like. So realtorshellycarver.com. Did I get that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is her website, right? And you can see that she's with Coldwell Banker, okay? So she's got the logos. She's got her picture. She's got all this information. This domain is being hosted by our CRM. Is that correct? The email address. So she has Shelly at realtorshelleycarver.com if you want to do that. That can be hosted through the Google Workspace. And then if you have a calendar that's linked to that, it can be hosted through that. If you have, you can even have a phone number, a dialer, like an 800 number, all the different kind of workspace, components that go along with that. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes.
So if I receive an email that goes through the CRM and then it's coming into my personal email, when I respond from my personal email, does it go back out under?
Yeah, it just links to it. So basically the CRM logs that information, so the logs are there, but you would use your Gmail account to send stuff out there. But if you send it out within the CRM, it sends it out with that.
The other name.
Yeah, with the same email address, right? So the email address stays the same. Yeah. Yeah. So basically your clients don't know the difference and all that, but you're being able to, you can be in your Gmail account. So, well, here, I'll show you what it looks like, because I don't want anybody to get too confused about this. So if I go to Gmail, I have the ability, so this is my personal Gmail, which is mikeander at Gmail, but then I can log in as Terenda Homes at Gmail, or I've got Mike at Captivate Agent. So I click on Mike at Captivate Agent, there I am. I'm still in a Gmail account, but the domain is Mike at Captivate Agent. So Gmail is hosting this email address. And then I better click out of here before I show stuff I'm not supposed to. Okay, so does that make sense to everybody?
Thank you.
Okay, great. Now that you know what accounts you need, again, we're running a business here. And if you have questions about some of these little details, please take advantage of our school area. Ask the questions. There's someone out there that has the answer. We have a video. There's all sorts of different resources out there. One of my videos playing? That's great. No, I'm just So, yeah, take advantage of using the systems that we have if you would like to do that. And then also the resources that are here to help you kind of put this together. Because think about it, folks. I know you're out there on your own. And many of you are at the age like I am where Post-it notes and Rolodex and stuff like that, and now our phones have everything on them, like in our contact list. But it's not the best way to be organized. It's not the best way to kind of keep everything together. And it's especially not good for our clients who can't find us online and things like that. So when you take advantage of a good CRM platform, end-to-end, IDX, front of office, back of office, and then you have your social media accounts, which is also integrated, and your email, which is also integrated into all that, then you can go to one place and everything's working together to make sure that the people that you're trying to serve are getting the information that they need when they need it. That's what this is all about. The right message to the right person at the right time. Good. One more question? Yes.
I have a question about the Google business page.
Yes.
I have one.
Okay, good.
I've been reconsidering to rename it. I've seen other agents that when they have it, they put the name of the broker, they're followed by their name.
Oh, yeah.
Or what's your input about that?
Yeah, so I do, because of compliance, because of compliance, like you can see mine says Mike Anderson Realtor, EXP Realty. And your broker will kind of determine that because you still have to be compliant. It has to be somewhere on there, right? But this is what a GMB looks like. I call it GMB. I think it's now just Google Business. It used to be Google My Business, so it's GMB. But this is what you want people to see. You want them to see your reviews. You want them to see hours and location and all this. We'll talk about this more in the Go-To Agent class. But this is what that means. Now, when you have that set up and now, see, these are blogs that are tied into my website. So when people, click on this, it'll go to my website. And I'll teach you more about this as we go on in terms of this social media marketing, is that these are specific to my area. Going deep in your farm instead of going too broad. So it's not just about homes, like in general, because you're competing against a lot of agents that way. But if I compete against agents in Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs area where I live, guess how much competition I have out there compared to the whole valley? Does that make sense? Even though there's a lot more homes in the whole valley, you know how many homes are in just Eagle Mountain right now? Yeah, like 4,000 or something like that. I think for sale even. So let me see, I can show it on my, it's crazy how much it's growing out that way. So, and you can find this out. I use my website to figure a lot of this out, but if I go to my local expert page, sorry to, oh yeah, 603, there's 4,000 total, yes, 603 properties for sale right now just in Eagle Mountain. That doesn't even include Saratoga Springs or Cedar Fort, that whole area that I'm in. Plus I help people out in Lehigh and, you know, all those surrounding areas right there. But by going deep, instead of going really broad, I get a lot more business that way. And I'll show, that's in 3 classes from now, I believe. So you'll want to go through that. But that's going to be part of what your Google My Business is. But to answer your question, Jonathan, you're going to have to talk to your broker if that should be up there or not. I put it up there, but I don't know if you have to or not, okay? Let's start advertising our listings. Now, when you do a great listing and you've looked at curb appeal, what's the second thing? Odor. Then the third thing? Declutter. Stage. Does every home need those 4 things? Improvements in some way? Every single home does. There are a few homes every now and then. It's like, wow, do you even live here? This is awesome, you know? Perfect, great. But how often does that happen? Not as often as we'd like, right? So the way we live in homes and the way they need to be showcased for sale is just different. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to give them suggestions on those 4 things. Once we follow through on those things, right, then I order pictures. So you should have one of your strategic partners. When I say strategic partners, it's one of those partners that you use just about on every deal, right? It's strategic to your business. Your videographer, photographer is one of those people. You should be on first name basis with that person that comes out and does it, because then you can help to control and understand exactly what's going to happen, because it's the critical part of your business that you're going to advertise your homes and yourself for. How many of you feel like you have your guy or gal? Good. If you don't, and your hand's not up, you need to find them. Ask around. You can ask me. I have 2 that I will use because one's busy sometimes. But it's very important that you have someone that does these things. They need to do bracketed photography. It's super important that they understand how to do real estate photography. What's the difference between real estate photography and portrait photography or, you know, landscape photography? Anyone know what's the biggest difference? When we're in a space like this, there's lots of different exposures that need to be considered, right? Even just looking in here, there's not even any windows here, but it's darker in that side of the room and lighter right here and really light right under the light, right? So you want someone that can take a good picture of all the spaces, understand how to take pictures that aren't going to look fish-eyed, but also show the space really well, right? And that take care of the different exposures. Bracketed photography means that it takes basically 5 pictures at different exposures and it overlays them. So when I get my pictures back from my photographer, I actually can see clearly out a window as well as I can see clearly granite countertop or, you know, quartz countertop, and it looks clear and sharp inside as well as it does outside. Does that make sense? So that's important. Then they do a drone footage. Now they should have a drone license to do that. There are going to be some areas where they can't fly, you know, in certain areas or certain heights and stuff like that, but they should be licensed for flying drone and doing that. And they have a good enough drone that does really good quality drone footage. I love our drone photographer. So let me see if I'll pull this up. So this is that property in Orem that I showed you before. And this is the single property page that it created on its own. But notice how big that picture is. And then it's going to scroll through these pictures for me. It creates this kind of view, but he's got the mountains in the background. That's that big shop that I was telling you about. So we really focused on the value of that shop because the house value was only comped at like $585, I think is what it was. Wasn't that, Jeff? I think this house comped at $585. We sold it for $680, $100,000 more. And the one across the street on the corner, they're selling for $557 or something like that. But so as far as bracketed photography goes, notice how this picture right here, I'll just pull this one up. If you can see, if you look out the window, it shows what it would look like if you were seeing it with your eyes. If this wasn't done with bracketed photography, then that would just be washed out. Does that make sense? And he still does a good job of making it look natural. If it's too unnatural, it looks surreal. It almost doesn't look right, like something, it's too flat or something like that. So he does a really good job with the photography on those pictures. The videography that is done is going to be the drone footage, but then my videographer will actually take a stabilizer and then go to the inside of the house. Have you ever seen those where they're doing the outside of the house? And then it looks like the drone just flies right in through the house, you know, and he goes through the house like that. And then he puts music to it. So that's done, so I can advertise that. So the 2 videos are going to be the drone footage as well as a video home show. I'll show you that a little bit more in a couple of weeks, but you need to be in one of the videos. Well, I was talking to you about that earlier. I use a 360 camera for it. You can still use your phone if you want, or you can actually use CapCut or something like that, which I'll show you, where you can come in and out of frame and then have the drone footage be what you're talking about. They need to see you a little bit, but I really like the videos where the agent showcases the house. So if you walk around a property in a video, you can start talking about the specifics that most people won't see when they just look at the video or the pictures themselves. Does that make sense? So as an example, if you're gonna show the 6-burner gas stove, but it's a bespoke, you know what a bespoke is, or one of the higher end, brands, you can talk about that. Or if it's a convection oven instead of a regular oven or something like that. The house that we just sold, they had a heat pump. So I was able to talk about the fact that it has a heat pump, it's brand new, and what that means, because a lot of people don't know what that means. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? So there's things that you can talk about. If it has quartz countertops instead of granite, like this particular house, it looked kind of like granite, just the way that it looked, but it was actually quartz. Does that make a difference for people when you're showing a house? So make sure you do a video where you're in the video, but you're not talking about you. Guess what you're talking about? Again, the house. And if you're talking about the house, how many of you feel comfortable doing that? Have you ever noticed that when you talk about yourself, you kind of stumble and you feel awkward? Anybody do 20 takes and you still hate them when you talk, mainly about something that you're trying to sell? But when you're just walking around a house and you have someone else filming you, or you got, a camera that, like the 360 camera, and you walk around the house and start talking about things, and here's this, and here's this, and these LVP floors here, and you just go through the house like that, you could literally have a 10-minute video like you're showing a house. And how many times do you show houses? Hundreds of times a year, right? So you just basically do what you already know how to do, and you don't need a script. It sounds natural and it sounds authentic, and that's what social media really thrives on. So that's the 2 videos that you're gonna have. Make sense? And then you're gonna have your 3D tour. So here's the 3D tour. Now, we use our Insta360 camera for that, but you can use a Matterport. You can hire them to do it. This is where they can go through the property and walk through it, like I showed you, I think, last week. Now remember, the feature that it has is I can take furniture in and out. Did I show you this before? Yeah. So you have all these features, measuring and stuff like that. I'll even do a video sometimes where I'll walk people through it using the 360 camera and show them what it's like with or without furniture. When you do videos like this, what are you showcasing besides the house? You're showing I'm going to walk you through this house. I'm going to share with you these things about it. By the way, when you go look at the house with this 360 camera, you can actually turn the furniture on and off to see what that looks like. That is really impressive. Yes.
Is that part of the 360, or do you actually go in and take it before it's staged and after?
You can do it. I do mine before and after. If I'm understanding your question, do you do a before and after video? I highly recommend doing a before and after video if you're going to do significant changes to a house. Like this particular house, I haven't done it yet. They had, I can't tell you how much stuff they had in their house. Most of what they were doing was decluttering. Oh, that. No, not necessarily. Yeah, I won't.
360, it just does it for you?
It does it for you, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, it does it for you, yeah. If you're gonna do a video, you can even do a third one where you're actually not only showcasing the house as it is after it's been staged, but sometimes after it sells, I'll do another video and say, here's what it looked like before, here's what it looked like after, and this is how much we sold it for. If you do it this way, what does that showcase? What you were able to do through that. So how many of you do just listed or just sold, kind of advertisements? Instead of just saying just sold and you see the agent who's taking up most of the space, you see the house in the background and they say just sold, and who's it advertising? The agent, right? It looks like a self-promoting ad. And most people are just flipping through that or not even seeing it. But if I have a little video where I talk about how, we took this house that looked like this and we decided to do this and this to it, and then it turned into this, and then we sold it for this much money, and it sold in 4 or 5 days, and we had this many people at the open house, you're basically showing people what you do to get them what they want, and that's a really good video. So you have your 3D tour. The other thing that you have is your single property website. So your single property website, if you have our CRM, it automatically creates this for you, but it does it a little bit differently than most MLS pages or sites, even especially your brokerage sites and stuff like that. The big thing we wanted to see the Matterport. If you go to Zillow and they have a Matterport, guess where it's at? just like this. You don't see this on any other MLS page. How many of you can't even find where the tour is, or there's a button you have to go look for? So it shows it right here. And then the other thing that we wanted to copy that Zillow had. We looked at Zillow because how much money do you think Zillow pays to understand what customers want? A ton of money. You know, it's kind of interesting, and I feel like even in some way the DRE and NAR, we are so focused on what? Us. We literally focus a lot on us, what we want and how we want to advertise ourselves. When you're a customer, you see a house that you want to see, all you care about, they don't care about the big picture of the agent. Do I want to see it in person or virtually? We actually get a ton of people now clicking on virtual tour. So that's why we have that class where we teach you how to do a virtual tour, because they want a virtual tour. Why do they want a virtual tour? Yeah, the pictures aren't quite enough, but I'm not quite ready to drive 2 hours during rush hour or on the weekend. Can you do a virtual tour for me? Right? Now you do a virtual tour and they go through that. We have the other class I'll teach you in 2 weeks, I think it is the ultimate homebuyer consultation. We use virtual tours as one way to attract buyers to sign with us right from the beginning, because we're going to give them the option of doing virtual tours. So we'll talk about that more when we get to that point. So this is one of your landing pages. I love this landing page all by itself, but the CRM also creates this landing page for you. This one right here, automatically. So this actually took, you didn't have to do anything with this. It actually took your pictures from your listing, but notice how big the videos and like the 3D tour are. Compared to that little picture, you're seeing it great big. Make sure you have the ability to showcase your stuff on your landing pages in a way that's going to drive them to want to see it. You have your single property website as a link, and then the Eventbrite. So I'm going to show you Eventbrite in just a second for your grand open house. And then I'm going to show you how to write your hook and your call to action on all these posts that you're putting out there on social media. And then, I hate to say it, because you're going to all think, why do I spend 2 hours when I can do it in 5 minutes? We decided to build into our system. You basically push one button, it does all your ads for you. And it even writes the unique hooks and call to action. But I'm going to show you how to do it yourself, because obviously you might have your own CRM or not want to get ours. So I'll show you how to do both of those. Does that sound fair? I want to show you the video so you know what that looks like. I'm going to show you how to post it and then how to advertise it. So let me see if that video came up. Okay, here's the video. So this is what I think a good drone footage looks like, because you need to showcase the area. There's a lot of golf courses in Utah. There's a lot of mountains, so we were able to take advantage of this. This one, all stucco before. We put board and batten on it. This is the one we sold for $829,000. It went under contract 4 days after it went on the market. The other house that's a little bit bigger down the street is still for sale even now for $700,000. What?
Did you do anything on the inside?
Yeah, well, as far as improvements, this is new. It had an orange, kind of an orangish brown countertop. We did the backsplash on it, and we staged it and put new carpet in and paint. Yeah, they spent a total of $23,000 to improve this house, right? But if you look at the difference, and we'll do a before and after, it's night and day difference. And they made $829,000 on the house. What was that? You want to see some before? Okay. Well, all of our houses, we have a lot of good before and after. Next class, I'll have it all ready to go, because I wasn't as prepared today. I want to make sure I get through everything today. But yeah, I'll show you the before and afters on that one. Notice how it now goes into the room. By the way, this bed right here, doesn't that bed look really nice? That is 2 folding tables under there. That is literally 2 folding tables with a duvet, with the, the pillows and stuff like that. So you don't have to go all in on really expensive stuff, when it comes to staging and stuff like that, okay? But what a difference it makes. This is the downstairs area. There was so much space down there we didn't know what to do with, and our stager was going to charge us a lot to stage it all. So I convinced them to keep their sectional there, so they kept that sectional there. I bought this for $300 off of Facebook Marketplace, this pool table. So we put the pool table.
How much did it cost you to have that moved in?
I did it myself with 4 other guys, yeah. If it's slate, it's very heavy, that's true. And then I had a little ping pong table at my house, and so I put that in. We didn't do the rest of the room, so the ping pong table's back there. But it's a great big space. But imagine if that space was just all empty, right? It just doesn't have the same impact or effect. This backsplash is different. We had to add the backsplash to pull the colors together, because It really had, they had some warm and then they put some cool colors together. They kind of, they just picked what they like most people do. And it didn't quite all go together, so we had to figure out how to pull it together. But the backsplash, I think it was an extra $700. Totally worth it. This countertop was from 20 years ago. It was the orangish brown. It looked like a calico cat. Yeah, it was kind of a strange color. So we had them put the new countertops in. And this is all staged, right? So basically all staged furniture. But on the outside of the house, imagine this was all stucco. That was, it was board and batten, but the color had changed. It was like a mustard color. And then this was all this brown and all shades of brown. What a difference, that looks now. It's important, though, that your ads look really good. So let me go through those so you have them right down. If you don't have them written down or they're not in your book that you need, these are the ads that you're going to do. You're going to have your drone footage, which is a video, and then basically your video tour. We call it a home tour with you in it. That's the 2 videos that you want. We'll talk more about creating that video in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the Go-To Agent one, where we're going to actually go through video. Then the single property website is a URL page, right? The reason you want a single property web page is because it doesn't have other properties for sale on that page. So when I showed you this one before, even this one right here, I think when you go to the bottom, here's more listings down at the bottom, but on the single property one, you notice that it doesn't have any other properties on the side or down below. It's only for that website. I will tell you that when we do our presentations and we show our clients that we're going to give them their own page for their site, and it looks like this with these they've never even seen it like that with these great big pictures, they think that that's special treatment. That's where we get that question, how much more do you charge for all this stuff? We don't. This is what you get from us. If you're going to choose an agent and one agent shows you a bunch of extra stuff you get and the other agent doesn't, which one are you going to choose? So that's what this is all about. So we show them this single property page. Now here, instead of seeing that little tiny block where you have to hit the button and maybe people don't do it, this actually shows a great big picture, and it makes you more likely to hit that button and start walking around that property. And then the video can play automatically. Does that make sense? So that's what a single property page is. That's the URL. And then you have the Eventbrite event, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. The Matterport itself is its own link. It's a URL link. You cannot host that anywhere because it has to render that all out. So that's your link. So does that make sense? So those are the 5 ads. Now there's a bonus one that I always do because Instagram especially likes this, but even Facebook does well, is I put all the pictures out there as one post. So I'm going to show you those different posts that are out there. Okay? Does that make sense? All your pictures, the single property website, and Eventbrite. Those are the 3 web pages. And then your video, or your videos, is going to be your drone footage and your video home show, we call it. And that I'll give you more details in a few weeks or a couple weeks. But basically, it's just you doing a tour of the home in video. Having you in the video, showing people about the home, is what makes it good for you and good for the people looking at that property. And then, of course, all the pictures that you have, those bracketed photographs, you want to have those in there as well. Okay. One last place you're going to advertise that I haven't told you about because you don't need an account for it is called Facebook Marketplace. You've all heard of Facebook Marketplace? Mm-hmm. You're going to put your property up on Facebook Marketplace. Okay. It's in the book, and we have videos that walk you through it on schools, so take advantage of that. But now I'm going to show you how to do all that. Here's my Facebook page for our real estate site. So I'm going to click on that. Our team's called Turenda. This is a business page. What makes a business page different? One is it has to be compliant. So you have to have, that information about your brokerage and all that kind of stuff like that on your business page. So, just follow that. And then this is where I'm posting all of these. Remember those posts that I told you about before that are part of the CRM about all the open houses this weekend or all the seller concession properties and things like that. So we have all these posts that are going out, and our system automatically puts them out for us, which is really great. I also then put there's the open house one, so all the open houses this weekend. And notice on this business page we just created not too long ago, I have 196 followers. I have over 5,000 on my own page, right? So what do? Every now and then I'll share after I log in as myself. If I log in as Mike Anderson, so see how I can toggle between the different accounts? So I'm going to log in now as Mike Anderson, where I have a lot more followers. So if I then go back to, if I search for Turenda, there's my Turenda Real Estate. Now I'm on Turinda's page, right? Turinda's business page, but as myself. Now, if I visit those business pages as myself, when I like, share, and comment, I'm liking, sharing, and commenting as Mike Anderson, not as Turinda or the business owner. Does that make sense? Now, if you have an Instagram account, you have a personal one, and you also have a business one. Usually, most people were just, most agents, I should say, were actually converting their personal to their business. Did anybody do that? Okay. If you did that, you don't need to do this. But if you have 2 accounts on Facebook or Instagram, make sure that you understand which one is your business profile account, right, and page, right, and which one is your personal. So now, if I hit share, I'm going to share it under, it even tells me, Mike Anderson on my feed, and it's public. Does that make sense what it's saying here? So then I can basically say something about this. This one is about luxury homes. So if I come here to share, I'm going to share now on Mike Anderson, not Turinda. I can say here, check out these luxury homes for sale in the Wasatch Front. I'll do that. I'm going to talk to you in a second about hooks and call to action. We got to get through that. I want to go through this quickly, but so what I'm going to do now is I can share this, but the thing is it's going to show the post below it. So if I'm going to give it a nice call to action, I'm going to come here to my website, and I'm going to come to my page that's all the luxury homes, $1 million properties. I'm going to copy this link, and then I'm going to put it here so that people can click on it. Does that make sense? Because if they can't click on it, then how are they going to get there? And then I hit share now. So now I just shared it. So if I now go to my page, so I can click on Mike Anderson. Here's my page. There's my post. And notice how my text is up here, but whatever I had below, or whatever that was in that post on my Turinda site is now showing up down here below. I know you get into the weeds of stuff and it's like, oh, what's so fun about that? But if you don't do it the right way with social media, you end up spending time and you don't get any results. Anybody ever feel like that? So this is where you get the results. You have to put your ads and post, or you have to put your posts out there. Then you can share them on your Facebook personal pages or your Instagram personal pages, okay? Right? And so the 5 ads, the way they look is I'm going to come back to Turinda as a post. So here's the 3D tour. So it says, check out the 3D tour of this Orem 4-bedroom, 4-bath home with 2 master en-suites and 12 square foot professional workshop. Click here for pics and details. And then they can click on that. They can also click on it here, and then I can boost it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. This is what ad am I putting here of those 5 that I told you about? This is the Matterport. This is the 3D tour. Yeah. So how do I do that? How do I put a 3D tour ad in here? Now I have to be logged in as Turinda, because you have to be the owner, right? Logged in as the owner or admin of that page. Now I have the ability to say what's on your mind. If I don't see the what's on your mind and I can't create a post, then you have to log in as that business owner. Does that make sense? All I have to do is put in that URL, that web address. So if I go to Matterport, this is something that you're going to get from your videographer. Your videographer, photographer, he's going to send you, or she's going to send you these links, right, to these things. So I have my own account because we do it through that account. Here's that house right here. So if I click on it, it says share, and then I can copy the link. You're not going to have to do all this because you're not going to, unless you want to have your own Matterport account. I do my own because I keep those there. And anyway, we don't have to get into all that. Now I come back to Facebook. You get an email from your videographer. I posted in there. I pasted in there. Look what it just did. Okay, all by itself. I took the URL link. I pasted it into my post. It takes the picture, which is the default landing place of your Matterport. And by the way, if you get a Matterport video from your videographer and it puts you into a place that you're like, that's not the best, it should be the very best looking place of your house, right? Kitchen might be good, or living room or something like that. We decided to do it here, but you can switch that around. You can tell him or her, please put that landing space here in this view, and then they can change that. Now, is this link right here going to get people to click on it so much? It's not. They don't have to because they can click on this picture. So once it loads the picture, guess what I can do with this link? I can delete it. Does that make sense? I can delete it in there. Now I'm going to write a good hook, and I'm going to write a good call to action. Everyone know what a hook is? Basically, the best way to define a hook is what's in it for me. And I want you to think about it from whose perspective? The buyer's perspective. What's in it for me? Okay? That's what a hook is. Why would I want to look at this? Now, have you ever heard this before? It's in the book. It's called the 2-5-15-second rule. Do you remember that? So let me remind you what that is. You have 2 seconds to capture someone's attention on any advertisement. I don't care if it's on TV, it's a billboard, it's a magazine ad, it's on social media. You got 2 seconds to capture their attention. How are you going to capture someone's attention in 2 seconds? A picture or video. And guess what it has to be a picture or video of if you're trying to capture people's attention that are looking for homes? A home. So if it's a picture of you, or a picture of your logo, or a picture of your brokerage, guess what's going to happen? They're just going to scroll through it, or your logo brokerage. So please, I know it sounds really cool to get your logo doing some really cool little thing at the beginning of all your videos. Guess what? No one's ever going to know what any of your videos show because they never got past the logo finally coming together. Okay? Or if they see a picture of you every single time, they will stop seeing that picture of you because they won't engage with it. And once they stop engaging with your content, guess what happens to the algorithm that shows them content on their feed? It stops showing what they don't want to see. That's why people aren't seeing it. That's why when you post stuff out there, especially that has to do with business, depending on what the people like to see or want to see, that determines what they're going to see. Because if they keep seeing stuff they don't want to see, what are they going to do? Leave. And they don't want them to leave. Does that make sense? So you got to show them content that they want to see. So if the algorithm knows and the AI knows that they're looking at homes in a particular area and a home shows up in that particular area, what's the likelihood of them looking at it? Much greater. Now you got to give them, from that 2 seconds, 5 seconds, do I care? So think about it from that perspective. I've got 5 seconds. So you know what a lot of agents are doing? They pull their whole entire description of the 20 wonderful things about that house and they put it in their post. It truncates it and nobody reads it. So you've got 5 seconds to give them what's in it for me. So if I do 6 posts out there about this property, I can use a different hook on each one. So if I'm going to do one that's showing this picture of the inside of the house, I might focus on the kitchen, right? Or the LVP flooring or something about the inside of the house. With the drone, I might focus on the fact that it's close to the golf course or, something like that. Does that make sense? So you can change the hook, but make it simple and sweet. 2 to 3 things at most about that property in the hook because they need to be able to read it and get it in 5 seconds. Does that make sense? That's why my hooks will usually say something to the effect like, 4-bedroom, 4-bath in Orem with this, and that's it. With 1 or 2 things that get them to want to click on it. And then the call to action is what they should do. Guess how long you have for them to take action or they skip it? 15 seconds. That's the 2-5-15-second rule. 2 seconds to capture their attention with a good image or video, the start of a good video. 5 seconds, what's in it for me? Why should I care? 15 seconds, what should I do about it? And that's why on that other post that I showed you before, I put the link right there, because if it's not right there, it doesn't make sense. Now, do I want to call an agent? Is that the first thing on my mind? Oh, I can't wait to call an agent about this home. So if you just put call me, and DM me, I see the DM me all the time. You can put that in there, but put it after you put the link. Because the next logical step in the process of looking at a property is what? Click on something for what? What do they want? So typically I'm saying, click here for more pictures. Or if it's not the 3D tour, click here for a 3D tour, right? Or click here for more information, right? Or you could even say, click here to schedule a showing if you want to do that. You can do those kind of things. Sometimes I'll put 2 call to actions in one post, which is fine. But start with the one that's the most obvious. Most people are going to feel comfortable. Think of yourself. I'm more comfortable clicking on a link that shows me more picture than I am calling an agent or committing to something. And that's what you want them to be able to do. Does that make sense? Now, guess who's really, really good at creating good hooks and call to actions? ChatGPT. And I've taught it what a 2-5-15-second rule is. You have to teach ChatGPT, by the way. Did you know that? Think of ChatGPT as a savant. Seriously. And a really smart child. Until it learns what you're trying to teach it to do, but it picks up things really quickly. So instead of just saying, can you write me a good hook and call to action? Yeah, it'll send you a hook and call to action with a bunch of emojis and all sorts of crazy stuff. So I teach it. I've taught it what a 2-5-15-second rule is. I need a 5-second hook and a 15-second call to action for this house that has, and I'll put bullet points of what this house has. And I need it times 5, and it'll write them all for me. Because I've taught it how to do that. Did you know you can teach ChatGPT to do what I'm telling you now You can even give it the book. I've had someone do that where they actually uploaded the book, told it to read the chapter, and then create the ads for their listing, and it does it. It's crazy how smart it is. So why not take advantage of that? It doesn't know until you teach it. So you have to have your strategy. That's why it will never fully replace, at least in my lifetime, I don't think, you. Because it needs strategy and it needs understanding of what it's trying to do. But then to do it, man, it's fast and good. Does that make sense? Okay.
Are you using the free one or are you paying for it?
I pay the $20 a month for it. And there's others out there that use a combination of ChatGPT and Gemini, and there's all sorts of ones. So don't think that you have to use ChatGPT because I say it all the time. I've just, it's like what you get used to one thing and you just use it. So use whichever AI you want to use. Okay, so I'm going to put a hook and a call to action. I'm going to put some hashtags. Some people are saying they're no good anymore, but I still put hashtags in there. And then I will also tag people. If you use the @ sign, you can tag people. Okay, if you get tag all followers, followers are different than people that like your page. You might not have very many followers, so don't think that you're going to send it out to all these great people, right? This is just on your business page. But I will tag certain people on all my posts, whether I do it on Facebook or Instagram, right? And you know the difference between Facebook and Instagram, who uses what and why?
No age.
Pretty much age. If you're under 30, you're using Instagram. If you're over 30, you're using Facebook, or somewhere around there, 35 maybe, something like that. Typically, it's an age thing, okay? And if you're even younger than that, you're probably using TikTok or something, or a combination. But just know who your audience is and who you're trying to reach and why, what's going to appeal to them. If you have a really great starter home and you're not putting that out there on Instagram as well as Facebook, you're nuts. So make sure you do that. But if you're putting luxury homes on Instagram, you might not get as much. I do it on both, but you might not get as many leads or things like that as you would on Facebook, just because it's an age difference. When I put the @ sign there, I want certain people to basically become collaborators in a sense. There is a collaborator feature, but this is something where it's actually going to force it onto their, account. It used to put it actually on their page, right, as if they posted it, but now it doesn't do that unless they're collaborating and they agree to it. But they will see it and they can respond to it. It'll show up in their feed for sure, right? Guess who I want to make sure sees this? The seller. So when you sell your properties and you have a listing presentation, and then you go through what you're going to do for them and you do your calendaring and, planning and all that kind of stuff, guess what you want to make sure you do with them at the table, at the kitchen table, while you're talking to them about everything you're doing after they sign? Have them like all your pages, every single one of them. Tell them that this is how I explain it to them. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of advertising like I explained to you. We're going to spend a couple $1,000s. And that's a total cost, not just the advertising cost, but what we pay for the actual media. So we're going to spend a couple $1,000s on your property to advertise it and get a lot of people here interested in it. These ads are going to go out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, right? And then Google My Business. We're going to put some out there too. You don't have to pay for those, but we put them out there. So you want them to like all those, right? And follow them. Is that good for your business? Yes. Right? Because they see it. Then when they do that, you can tag them. So you can be their friend on your Facebook page. And I do that. I do it with Instagram too. So they're my friend, right? Personal friends. I'm fine with that. I know there's a crossover between that and business, but I just do it anyway because a lot of stuff is seen, because I share it to my personal page. And they see, I have a lot of agents ask me, do I put a lot of personal stuff on my business page? And I say, no, it's a business page. But guess what? When they're your friend on Facebook and on Instagram, personal, right? They're going to see some of those family pictures and stuff like that. If you don't want them to be there, I understand. But that's how I do it. Does that make sense? So, but I make sure that when I'm sitting down there with them, they are actually my friends on social media, on all those channels. You know how much easier it is for me to get a review on Google My Business when they're already following that, right? Things like that. So I want to make sure that they're getting all that information. So I tag them using the @ sign. Who else should be on there? Okay, if you have a boss, definitely. Is that your wife? Okay, who else should be on there? The lender should be on there. All your strategic partners. Who took all the pictures? Should they be on there? Are they going to be excited to share after they put all those pictures and stuff together? Yeah, it's kind of cool when they share all that, right? And they have their own reach. Who else should be on there? Your stager. You think your stager's not going to be excited that you're advertising the property that they staged? And even put, you can even say that it's theirs. My stager will actually put a post on her own page after I put it out there. Here's another house that I staged. It's my house. That's a good thing. Who else should I put up there? the landscaper, the guy that did the painting, or all the people that did any work on the house. I tag all of them, right? Who else should be on there? Title, your title officer, any strategic partner.
Lender.
Yeah, your lender, we talked about the lender. Who else? Yeah, your photographer, videographer should be on there. Put your brokerage on there. Put your brokerage. How many of you have sales meetings where you tell everybody on your team what new listings you have, right? Put your brokerage on there as well, and they'll help you sell those properties. So that's really important, is to tag all those people. But they have to be your friend on your page, and they want to if you're going to be promoting them. So now you got more people following you. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions about all that? Okay, now, the only difference between doing a video and a URL link is that you're going to upload that video. So now here you see I have photo, video, reel, and live video. Everyone know the difference between these three? Okay, your photo video is just your photos. So I haven't talked about that, so I'm hoping to get through all this. Is everybody doing all right? So much to tell you about, because it's a lot of fun. Once you put this all together, it's so much fun to see it work and get all this new business. And then we put it into our CRM, so you just click a button and it does all this for you. But you can still go through all this, and it's still a good idea to know how to do it. So the photo video is basically your landscape videos. They should be. They don't have to be. You could do portrait, but landscape is usually on Facebook. Facebook is really good with your landscape. Instagram and the others like the 16:9 or the square, mostly 16:9. So your portrait videos. You know how you turn your phone? How many of you have your kids tell you, turn your phone, Dad, or your mom, or something like that? Because they do everything in portrait, almost everything. But homes don't display well in portrait. So I like to do landscape when I can. Like your drone, could you imagine doing drone video in portrait? And it's like, I can barely see, I can't see the edges. I see up and down really well, but not across. So, but I will tell you that reels, you'll get a lot more views on a reel. So a lot of times when if I do a quick showcase of a house I've done, have you ever seen those before, where someone's showing a house, it looks like they're running through it and then it stops and they run and stop and you can do stuff like that. It's pretty easy, and I'll show you a tool that does that, but I'll use reels for that. But typically on Facebook, I'm putting my video in landscape. When I go on to Instagram, I'll change it, and that's why I don't put it on both, but that's what I do. I'll put it on portrait just because it shows better. But now if I go photo video here, so as soon as you load that, it's going to put it here. Once it loads, it'll show the first image and stuff like that. Then I put what's on your mind. What should I put here? My hook. Always think of this. Whenever you put anything that has to do with your business, hook, call to action, hashtags, and what's the last thing? Tags. Every single time. That's your formula. Just remember that, okay? Now, does a call to action and a hook have to be salesy? No. It can be talking about the great features. But if people are looking at this video or looking at these pictures or whatever it is, they're going to be focused on what? Hey, I don't know how it knows this, but I happen to be looking for a home in Orem around this price point, and it knows it. That's just the way it works. And it's showing up on my feed. So if I put in there Orem 4-bedroom, 4-bath home with a workshop as a hook, is that a good hook with a workshop? Is a 3-car garage a good hook? Yes. Is brand new roof, AC, and furnace a good hook? Now, if I put all of those things in there, is that a good hook? No, it's not. But if I put a couple of those in there, and I do that across 5 or 6 different posts, then that's going to attract people for different reasons. Now, guess what happens with the algorithm? If I even spend a little bit of time looking at one of those posts, even if I don't do anything, guess what's going to be more likely to happen? I see the next one. So whenever you do your ads, my goal is to put all my ads out on Monday or Tuesday for a Saturday open house. And all of them I put out at the same time. And so if they see one, then they're going to see another. How many of you, when you watch TV, see the Progressive ads or the Geico ads, and you see them over and over and over again, and they do little variations of it? But the thing is that repetition, they're called touches, is what works. I might get someone that's interested in my property. Like if you just put out one post, and even if you advertise it, and that's all you do, you've basically missed what this system can do for you, this platform can do for you. This kind of advertising works best when you have the 5 or 6 ads out there, each of them a little bit unique, different hook and call to action, different images that they're seeing, different video that's up there, all about your house. And then they're going to get engrossed in that. How many of you have seen, like I think someone mentioned it over here, they saw My Home in Orem and they kept seeing it over and over, right? That sells homes because it gets people engaged with it. And the more they get engaged, the more they see. But if I don't have a lot of content out there, they're not going to see it. Does that make sense? So that's why I put out all those ads. So when I put a video out there, by the way, there are video options. I will put a title to the video, and then I'll also add tags to that video. The tags that I'll add are like your hashtags. Just think about, they don't have to be all together, but like home for sale, open house, stuff like that. I can put as many tags as I want in there, what people might, you're basically teaching Facebook what you're selling or what you're putting out there. And then I can actually put one collaborator on there. And since I'm putting it on my business page, guess who the collaborator is usually? Me. Well, it's already Tarinda that I'm posting it at. So I put me as the collaborator. By doing that, then it's going to extend it out to all the people that follow me, right? And then I can still share it and stuff like that. So does that make sense what I'm doing here? Okay. I know it sounds like a lot. And every time I teach this class, everybody's like overwhelmed and like I will tell you that if you follow the formula, it's not as hard as you may think. It actually is pretty straightforward. Yes?
Do you have an SOP for this? I mean, it's
Yeah.
outlined in the chapter, but do you have an SOP in your...
Yeah, as a matter of fact, after the next chapter, I believe it is, or is it the end? No, it's not the end of this one. It actually has your, oh no, it's right here. The listing checklist, and then I think below, there's another, where it kind of goes through, yeah, kind of an SOP. But I will tell you that we've been doing this for years, and it works really, really well. I've been teaching it to agents for years. The biggest complaint that we had got is like, the first time I did it, it took me 2 hours to figure it out. Then the next time, an hour and a half, then an hour, and then now they can do it in 45 minutes or something like that. Let me show you Eventbrite really fast so you can get that piece of it. Then we got to give you guys time because you're going to do a pie eating thing. That's going to be awesome. The key lime pie. Can't wait to see that. So I will show you between the book, between what I taught you today, and between what we have on school, you should be able to put all the pieces together of this SOP, where you know how to go through and do all these things. And it's really not, just don't get overwhelmed so much that you don't do it, because you need to put those out there. Eventbrite, by the way, is a free tool that allows you to post events for your area. Guess what event you're posting? The open house. So when you think about good advertising has not only a good hook and a good call to action, it also has what's called urgency, or it creates urgency. Okay? What creates urgency when it comes to homes being sold? What it's going to move too fast. That's what you want people to think. Now, the most beautiful homes that are priced well, do people get scared that those are going to move fast and they better hurry? Yeah. Now, when you put stuff out there on the MLS, where does all that go in terms of potential new buyers? Who sees those posts, or those ads, I should say? It's an ad. Because when you put it on the MLS, it is an ad. Who's going to get those ads? Agents get them, right? And they're basically, it's really the clients, but it's their clients that are getting them. Okay? Does that make sense? Because they have what's called a listing alert or a home alert. You know what I'm talking about? A hot sheet, however you call it. People call it different things, but basically they're getting that through their agent. Now, if someone sees a property they like, what is it telling them to do through that process, through that advertising? Contact the agent for a showing. That's why nobody comes to your open houses. Did you know that? Nobody's coming to your open houses because you as an agent, if you had the option to show a house personally to your client or to go with them to an open house, which would you do all day long? Personally, right? Because you have personal attention with them. You're not worrying about other agents there or other, competition or anything like that. You're going to show the house personally. So I have agents all the time say, why do you do an open house? No one shows up. But our clients want them. We're going to talk about this next week, by the way. Please don't forget next week's class, because all of this advertising should culminate to the open house. We get 100 people or so at the open house. How do you get them there? Most of them aren't coming with agents. Most of them are coming without agents, and it's even increased now since the new NAR ruling. Okay? So we want to make sure that our advertising on social media, where people aren't with an agent, are getting excited about coming to the open house. And so one of my biggest call to actions after I create the Eventbrite event, by the way, there is a video for this, and I'll let you go to that because I don't have enough time to go through that process. It's super easy to use. It's free. You just create your event, you put your pictures in, you say what time and date it is and stuff like that. You can even advertise it. You can copy the link and put it in Facebook and Instagram. It works that way. But what's really important with this is that you're advertising the grand open house, and then I use this hook. Let me see if I can come here. I put it up. My call to action will be this, something to this effect. You know, I don't write these that much anymore because ChatGPT writes. RSVP to see this home before the open house, or come and then I put the open house time. Now, if they RSVP and then I put the link to the Eventbrite page, if they click on that, they can actually sign up to come to my open house. Does that sound crazy? I actually have, usually with a good advertisement, 15 to 20 people that will literally sign up to come to my open house because they're so excited to come look at it because they're not involved with an agent at that time. They just don't know any better. I'm going to RSVP to come to this open house, and then it reminds them and gives them directions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. They're RSVPing in the event, right?
So Eventbrite creates the RSVP for you, and then you create the link. Once you create the event, you create the link. Okay. So really quick, what I want to show you. Sorry I didn't get to that part of it, and maybe next week I can show you a little bit of how that works. But it's in the videos and stuff on our school page. But if on the CRM, just so those of you that have our CRM or that might be considering it, this is what's so crazy. You go to your listings. You can actually click on Manage a Listing. All the stuff is done so that you don't have to go do all this kind of crazy stuff. It creates the grand open house. You can do the advertising. So if I want to send it to social media, AI will write the hook call to action for you, and you can kind of teach it how you want to do it. It's slow right now, but it's doing that for you. It'll put the picture and image in there. You just tell it how much to spend. So this one we spent $216. We got 2,141 impressions, 82 clicks, 7 engaged leads. These are actually people that actually gave us their name, phone number, and email address, and we called them and we're working with them. These are hot leads, right? On this house or something else. It does all of it for you, and you just basically put in that you want to do the ads, and it'll do the ad for you. So let me show you. Because this one I already sold, so I'm trying to figure out if I can just add this. I said post it to it. It would give me an option. I have a video out there, and I'll let you watch the video on school. But basically, when you have the listing, it creates the single property website. Then you put in there that you want to advertise it. You put how much you want to pay and the time period, and then you hit submit, and it creates all the ads for you. So it's done in just that one link. Okay? Huh? The CRM, it's $250 a month for the CRM for everything, the front of office, the back of office. If you want to know, we'll give you a free demo. It will, if you don't get 2 to 3 deals with what you have going on through that, I mean, one deal pays for the whole year, but just from having people in there, it does a CMA builder. It has a ton of other stuff, but that's what it costs for that. So ask us about it. It will pay off your cost of that every month. I'm talking about for the whole year because of how well it works. So here's the setup for next week. Next week is the grand open house class. This is where I'm going to show you how to deal with 100+ people coming to your open house and how to get them through the open house and how to generate business from that your advertisements will create. So if you have any other questions, I'm sure you do, about how to do your listing advertising. If you have a listing come up, one is get the book. 2, watch the videos on school and ask questions on school, and someone will answer those questions for you. And then 3, if you want to do the demo and see how to do it with just clicking the buttons in there, because we built it all out that way, we'd love to do a demo video with you. Okay? Thanks for coming today. I hope this class helped without being too much of a fire hose of information. But we do want to help you get to that point where you're doing 2 to 3 listings every single month. I know you can do it. A lot of agents are doing it, but it means that you have to provide a level of service that they understand, that they want, and that you deliver consistently.